All right. Let's see how we're doing. Let's wait for everything to wake up here and make sure we are good. Rockfin, YouTube, how you guys doing? Up, YouTube's awake. We got YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Good morning. Hope everything is well. Rockfin, how you doing? Where you at? Ooh, Rockfin's a little slower today, but Rockfin's awake. There we go. What's up, Rockfin? Everywhere is awake. You guys know me. I gotta wait for it. It's how it goes. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the patron slash Rockfin Premium stream. This stream goes out to everyone initially. I'm even streaming it on Twitter today because, there's something in particular I really wanted to cover Assange today and talk about Assange today. So, I wanted to make sure that that goes out to everybody, and we'll also be clipping out the Assange portion later. But the replay of the rest of the stream is only available to patrons and Rockfin Premium members. And if you're thinking, that's really cool, Ron, you send it out to everyone, but then the replay is only available for members. I think I want to become a member. Where can I do that? Patreon.com/RobLacone. For a Give What You Can't level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, stand-up videos not available anywhere else, free tickets to shows sometimes. That's not an all-the-time thing, but sometimes I get free tickets to shows to patrons. I'll make you a theme song, all kinds of cool stuff. And that's all for a Give What You Can level. There are no tiers, so it's whatever level you are comfortable giving. Even $1 a month goes a long way. Patreon.com/RobLacone. But without further ado, so first of all, before we continue, I do want to apologize. Typically, the patrons Rockfin Premium streams happen on Sunday. I had a personal issue come up, nothing bad, but it's just something scheduling issue that it's easier for me to do it this morning, and especially with everything going on in the world, I kind of wanted to talk about Assange sooner than later too. So yeah, I apologize, and if that inconvenienced anybody, I apologize. But hopefully, for all you members out there, if you're missing this live, you're catching the replay on Sunday morning. So I apologize for any inconvenience, and I appreciate you understanding. So, Julian Assange. I wanted to start today by talking about Julian Assange. I'm glad that I waited a day because my initial reaction was just anger. And I'm sure a lot of you felt that way too, where you were just very angry. So, I'm sure a lot of people know what happened already, but the court in the UK, overruled their verdict that he can't be extradited to the United States. They switched on that and they said, yes, he can be extradited to the United States. And basically, the short of it is the United States gave, quote, assurances that he'll be treated just fine. The United States, the same government that tried to assassinate him, they assured we'll treat him just fine. And the UK said, yeah, we see we're convinced. You've sold us. We're sure you're going to treat him just right. We're sure of that. It's going to be totally fair and just. What are we basing off of? That off of the United States word. The same government that tried to kill him. Yeah, they told us they were sorry. They were like, you know what? We were really drunk that weekend. Went on a bender, and we started forming a big detailed plan to murder a publisher. And but we thought about it. That was just a bad weekend. We promise we'll be fair. It'll be a fair trial. A fair trial for what? Well, by the way, why is he on trial in the first place? So here's a headline from Kevin Gustola, which Kevin Gustola has been crushing it with the Assange coverage. A lot of people have. I don't mean to just single out one particular journalist, but Kevin has really, done a good job over the past few days. I got to get him on this show. So I should reach out to him about getting him on this show. But here's his headline. Assange plans to appeal high court decision backing extradition to the United States. So the long and short of it is, where are we at now? Where we're at now is that the UK High Court has reversed this decision that Assange can't be sent to the United States. Assange's defense team will appeal this decision, and they'll be appealing it to the Supreme Court of the UK. So attorneys for WikiLeaks founder, this is from Kevin's article, attorneys for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange plan to appeal the Supreme Court, to the Supreme Court in the UK after the country's appeals court overturned a decision that blocked the extradition of Assange to the United States. So the High Court of Justice over in the UK, they were satisfied, quote unquote, with diplomatic assurances offered by the US government related to how Assange would be treated in jail or prison. And they stated, there is no reason why this court should not accept the assurances as meaning what they say. Really? Here, I'll give you a reason. They tried to assassinate the guy. Is that a reason? Wow. Good job, UK court. That's amazing. Oh, there's no reason to. They said they're going to be nice. You know, we see no reason why we shouldn't send Snow White away with this nice old lady. This nice old lady, we're going to send Snow White away with her. Sure, she did this kind of shady thing with an apple. What shady? Oh, the apple was poisonous. Yeah, it was a poison apple. And yeah, that was kind of weird. But, you know, she seems like a nice old lady. She said she's sorry. She assured us that she's just going to treat Snow White totally nice. She just needs a favor from her. And, you know, these seven dwarfs, they're kind of creepy. I don't know. We're going to send her with this nice old lady. We see no reason for hesitation there. There's no, yeah, I know the poisoned apple thing. Again, she said she was sorry. Stop dwelling in the past. It's going to be just fine. They see no reason. The UK, they're convinced. It's going to be just fine. Let's revisit what Assange is being charged under. So 17 out of the 18 accounts on Julian Assange are under the Espionage Act. What is the Espionage Act? So the Espionage Act is an act that can be traced back to the First World War. So keep in mind, it was written under the context of a world war. And it basically says you can't do anything that would harm the military the military needs of the U.S. Basically, what the U.S. military is trying to do, you can't do anything that would harm their pursuits, especially when it comes to a foreign government or anything like that. Again, this was written in the context of a world war. So it basically meant, hey, we're in a world war, and if you are spying for another country, or, you know, in the case of World War II, if you're spying on behalf of Nazis, that's bad. You can't do that. That's the context under which the Espionage Act was written. You cannot contradict the military exploits of the United States, what the United States is doing militarily. So when you take that act that was written under this context and apply it to today, well, what does that mean? We're not in a world war right now. I mean, we're blowing up a bunch of countries, but we're not in a world war. So how would you contradict the military desires of the United States? Well, by exposing war crimes. That's how. So that's why this act, which has no bearing on today's society and shouldn't exist anymore, that's why this act is just used against whistleblowers or people who publish them. That is the only, like, when you look at the Espionage Act, and I know I didn't give you the exact verbiage, but the basic theme of it is, well, you can't do anything that would harm the United States military's agenda. It's basically what it is. So when you apply that to today's society, well, when would that act be used? It would be used against whistleblowers and the people who publish them. That's why it was used against Daniel Hell. That's why it was used against Julian Assange. Shouldn't even exist anymore. So right away, what he's being charged under shouldn't be a thing. Another thing that they've been doing that we've been covering on this show, and a lot of other journalists and independent media personnel have been covering as well, when it's convenient for them to say Julian Assange isn't a United States citizen, when it comes to rights he should have. Because again, keep in mind, he's not a United States citizen. So when people say things like he's a traitor and treason and this and that, the guy's not a United States citizen. He's not a citizen of the United States. He doesn't owe any presidential candidate anything. Neither does a United States citizen, by the way. But I'm just saying, when you throw away those when you use those terms, they lose all meaning completely, because it's like the guy's not even a United States citizen. But anyway, what the court's been doing is, when it's convenient for them to say he's a United States citizen, when it comes to what they can prosecute him on, all of a sudden they treat him like he's a United States citizen. But when it comes to rights he should have, all of a sudden they remind you, hey, he's not a United States citizen. He doesn't get these rights. He's not a U.S. citizen. They're having their cake and eating it too. And that's why, as my buddy Gordon Dimmick says, great journalist out in the UK, you should follow Gordon, calling this a kangaroo court is an insult to kangaroos. That's how bogus this entire thing is. Oh, and what are they basing the prosecution off of? They're basing it off of this whole idea that he helped Chelsea Manning hack things. Because again, Publishing documents isn't a crime. Julian Assange published some things that, by the way, the New York Times and the Guardian also published. They didn't get in any trouble. What would be considered a crime is illegal hacking. That's a crime. So they're trying to make the case that Julian Assange somehow helped Chelsea Manning. There's no evidence that he did. Chelsea Manning says he didn't. And they tortured Chelsea Manning for, 6 years and counting to try to get a confession out of her saying that's what he did. She still hasn't confessed that. I don't know about you, but if something was true and someone tortured me for 6 years, I'd eventually spill the beans. I'm pretty sure I'd eventually fess up to it if it was the truth. It's also based on this idea, all these other this nonsense propaganda. Oh, he was working in conjunction with Russia. There's no evidence that Russia was ever a source for WikiLeaks, and even if they were, WikiLeaks never divulges the source. It's irrelevant. WikiLeaks does not share their sources. And by the way, all the documents WikiLeaks published, completely valid documents. They've never had to retract anything. All those DNC emails were real. They were all real. So there you go. More nonsense. Oh, Julian Assange was helping Trump. Trump tried to get the guy killed. The Trump administration tried to kill the guy. I mean, just all this nonsense where it's like, how could anybody? Oh, and who's the star witness in this case? But before we move on to current, who's the star witness in the case, quote unquote, against Julian Assange? Oh, it's that guy from Iceland who was embezzling money from WikiLeaks. He was stealing money from WikiLeaks. He was a turncoat who was spying on Assange since 2014 on behalf of the CIA and the FBI and the intelligence community. And by the way, this guy has been caught on multiple accounts of fraud. Oh, and on sex charges. He's a pedophile. The guy's a pedophile and a sex criminal. Oh, and not too long ago, he admitted to lying about everything. He basically said, yeah, I've been lying about everything this whole time. That's their guy. That's their star witness. That guy. That's their guy. This case is bogus, beyond bogus, beyond bogus, beyond bogus. Every day, the fact that it's still going on is just, I mean, this is an assault on free press of a generation. Of a generation. And I know Julian Assange isn't the only person. There's other people too. But this guy has been kept in solitary confinement for years under these terrible conditions. And if he gets sent to the United States, it's going to get even worse. They're trying to kill the guy. I mean, let's not mince words. They are trying to kill the guy. That's what's going on. So that's where we're at. And prior in January, they said, hey, we can't send Assange to the United States because, man, that's too barbaric even for us. And now they're saying, oh, we can send him to the United States. The United States, they said they'll be nice. I don't know why we would have any reasons not to believe them. Oh, trying to kill the guy, that's not a reason. The fact that they have all these bogus charges against the guy, that's not a reason. The fact that they've been spying on him for years, that's not a reason. There's plenty of reasons to suspect the U.S. hasn't been fair or just, because why would they start now? If there was any fairness or justice, they would drop all these charges immediately because they'd realize they have absolutely nothing. And this guy would be giving a severance package so they never has to worry about money again for the rest of his life. And he'd be home right now, getting ready to celebrate the holidays with his wife and children. That's what he'd be doing. And I'm pretty sure his wife now, because I think they did get married recently. Stella, I believe she was his fiance, but I do think that they got married. So that's what's going on with Julian Assange. Let's kind of peruse this. Again, Kevin Gostola did a very wonderful summary here. Now, here's something fun to point out. I guess fun is not the right word for it, but the High Court decision came on Human Rights Day. Isn't that a slap in the face? Oh, also simultaneously, the United States is having a democracy summit, which, us doing a summit on democracy would be like somebody who knows 3 chords offering guitar lessons. Like, yeah, you have no qualifications. A day marked by countries of the United Nations. Assange is detained at Her Majesty's prison in Belmarsh in London, which, by the way, is a terrible prison, too, in its own right. But even they're saying, oh, the U.S., that's pretty nuts. So Kevin brings up the Espionage Act here, a law passed in 1917 the Justice Department has increasingly wielded against media sources who share classified documents. Yes, because that's the only way they can apply it now. That's the only reason something like that should exist, is to prosecute journalists and whistleblowers and publishers. Because when you read like the details of that act, and again, it was written in the context of a world war, so it's like, well, you can't do anything that would compromise the goals of our military. Well, what does that mean today? What is our military doing today? They're exploiting the rest of the world for the profits of war profiteers and oil companies. That's what they're doing. And they're committing war crimes. That's what our military is doing. So people who expose those things, people who say, hey, these are war crimes, that's where the Espionage Act comes in. Wow. Here's a quote from Rebecca Vincent from Reporters Without Borders. This decision marks a disastrous turning point for journalists and journalism around the world. We call on the U.S. government to truly lead by example and to close this case now before it does any more damage. Julian Assange should be released immediately, and steps should be taken so that no other journalist, editor, or source can be targeted in this way ever again. And that's something else that is important to point out, by the way. That's one of the things. I mean, obviously, we are all so incredibly hopeful and will keep fighting to make sure that Julian Assange is freed. And hopefully that day comes very soon. Hopefully that day comes soon. Things aren't looking good, and we're up against a lot, yeah. And I'll tell you what, after yesterday especially, it's hard not to feel helpless. And I tweeted that out. I was like, it's really hard not to feel helpless. Because, again, it's so freaking bogus. And if you just take maybe 10 minutes to just read online about what's really going on in this case. And even yesterday, the corporate media, oh, this is a shut and close thing. This is totally, yeah. Yeah, it's a shut and close thing in the sense that it should be completely done with, and it should be completely dismissed because it's a bogus case. That's how it's shut and closed. But that's not what they mean when they say it's shut and closed. They think he's guilty of something. Ask people what he did. Ask people what he did. They're going to give you one of the things that I just debunked in real time in minutes. He was helping Russia. He was helping Trump. Why did he? Those emails were. People still think the emails aren't real, by the way. People still think, even the DNC themselves admitted it was real. There's still people who think they were fake documents. Those were fake documents. What documents were fake? Well, a bunch of them. WikiLeaks has never had to retract anything. 0 documents were fake. 0. It's remarkable. And this is what we're up against, again, because the corporate media, you repeat a lie often enough, people believe it's true. That's one of the most basic rules of propaganda. Repeat a lie often enough, people believe it's true. And that's what's going on with Julian Assange. So right now, again, we're in that position where, to quote one of my favorite musicians, Tom Petty, the waiting is the hardest part. The Assange defense team will appeal this decision to have him extradited to the United States because, again, we do not want him extradited to the United States. So they'll appeal this to the Supreme Court. Now, maybe the Supreme Court will behave a little more differently than the appeals court, the high court, and they'll say, yeah, this is completely bogus. You have nothing here. We got to dismiss this thing entirely. I don't know if that'll be the case or not. It's tough to say. I don't know all the particulars of how the court proceedings work when it gets up to the Supreme Court. I just know that Assange's defense team is appealing it. That's what we know so far. And we will keep following this on this show and in other shows. We'll keep following it as well. And it's, man, it just shows you. It really shows you the difference a day makes in the world of news. You think about Thursday. So Thursday, what'll happen? Well, Steve Donziger was sent home, which is good. Shama Zuwan out in Seattle defeated her recall, which was good news. First unionized Starbucks store, also good news. And then the Kellogg's website, where they were trying to recruit scabs because of their workers who were on strike, the website crashed because people crashed the website with fake applications, which is so awesome. So there was some good news for the left for a change on Thursday. And then on Friday, Julian Assange. We hear the news on Julian Assange, and it's the worst news we could have hoped for as far as that ruling went. We wanted them to uphold it, saying, no, you can't send him to the United States. They didn't. They reversed it, saying, yeah, you can send him to the United States. We're convinced everything's fine. We're convinced they're going to be nice. Why would we be convinced otherwise? I mean, what do we have to worry about? They just tried to kill the guy. That's all. Come on. Wow. I mean, how can they say any of this with a straight face? How can they? Oh, we see nothing to be worried about here. They tried to kill the guy. Yeah. They said they were sorry. Come on. Haven't you ever just had a bad day and tried to plan out an assassination of a publisher because they published documents that you didn't like? Isn't that a reasonable reaction? So anyway, on Friday, we woke up to that with Julian Assange, and then there was some other not so great news as well. The guy from the Monkees died, rest in power, and the Angelic Upstarts, their singer passed away as well, which was very sad. I was fortunate enough to see the Angelic Upstarts several years ago at Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas. They were one of the original anti-fascist, anti-racist punk bands of an era, and they really paved the road for a lot of stuff that came after. They're not quite the household name a la the Ramones or anything like that, but they're a great band. I'm not as fluent in them as a lot of other people are, admittedly, but it was really awesome catching them live. So yeah, what a difference a day makes, right? And it just goes to show you we got to fight another day. It just goes to show you don't give up, keep going. And when it comes to Assange, and again, I know I said this before, but it's so hard not to feel helpless. How do you not? I mean, I feel helpless sometimes. We all do. But he's not giving up. His family's not giving up. His wife's not giving up. His dad's not giving up. His brother's not giving up. His brother, I believe his brother was on Democracy Now! On Friday, and probably several other shows as well, which that's a testament to courage. I mean, think about if something like this was happening to your sibling. Just think about that. Or your spouse. Or even just your friend. You know, and I know there's some speculation out there like Julian Assange might not be the nicest guy in the world. I have no idea one way or another. I know, I mean, friend of the show, Susie Dawson, she knows him. She says he's a wonderful guy. He's a great friend to her. You know, and I have no idea one way or another. I never met the guy, but it's completely irrelevant. It's complete. I mean, look at what is happening. It is completely irrelevant whether he's a grumpy guy or not. Completely irrelevant. Oh, and by the way, if you went through what he went through, I mean, some of these people, when they're just like, well, he was a little unpleasant. If you went through what he went through, how unpleasant would you be? If you were thrown in solitary confinement, people are putting rocks in your food. You're in these horrible prison conditions. You might be sent to the United States where they're trying to kill you. How pleasant would you be? Would you say would you say something a little more significant that this is nonsense? And that's what he said, and everyone freaked out. He said, this is nonsense. And they were like, oh my God, he's lashing out. I would say a lot more than this is nonsense. If I was, I have said a lot more than this is nonsense, and I'm not him. I'm a free guy. I'm going to go for a walk after this. I'm free to do that. He's not. And he should be. He should be getting ready to celebrate the holidays with his family right now. That's what he should be doing. I mean, just every bullshit aside, it's you can knock it over with a feather, all of them, every single one. We just did, by the way. And there are tons of journalists out there who are bringing us firsthand information, who are out there in London, who have done dives way deeper than I have. I'm just a guy, and this is one of the issues I care about when we talk about it. But you can just poke holes in this stuff immediately. And I know, again, I know it's not a huge thing, but I do strongly encourage you. You know what? One thing I'll encourage you to do, share this clip with someone who doesn't know much about Assange. Share this clip with someone who maybe they're like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just heard this stuff on CNN or MSNBC, and I guess he was helping Trump, right? I don't know much about him. Share this with them. Share it with them. I've turned a couple people on Assange. I've turned a couple people who were like, I don't know. I think it's kind of, I've changed their mind just by talking, just by saying, look, ask me question, bring up something. Let's talk about it. So share this clip with someone who's maybe not as familiar, maybe doesn't see like what exactly is going on. Because again, I think if most people really knew the details of what's going on here, I think everybody would be calling for his freedom. I don't think the people are that barbaric. The system is. The system is what this country is politically, and not just the United States, by the way. Other players in the world are helping too. The UK is doing their part to help out too. So yeah, the systems are that barbaric. But I don't believe the people are. In fact, I know they're not. I think we all know that. So, free Assange. Um, yeah. Good to see everybody, by the way. And again, for anyone just tuning in, this is the patron stream slash Rockfin Premium stream. It goes out to everyone initially, but then the replay is only available on Patreon and Rockfin Premium. And if you're thinking, Ron, I want to help you out, I want to join, patreon.com/Ron Flacone. For Give What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. You can get free tickets to shows sometimes, and I'll make you a theme song. A theme song makes a wonderful holiday gift. Wink, wink. I got a lot of holiday orders. I'm going to start knocking them out. I'd love yours to be one of them. Patreon.com/Ron Flacone. How much does all that cost, Ron? It's a Give What You Can level. It's a give, because you know what? I really, and I know this sounds, I don't mean for this to sound like righteous or anything like that, because I really, but I want to build a community around what I create. That's all I really want. So if you can afford a higher dollar amount, that's great. But if you can't, I still want you to join. So even $1 a month goes a long way. And don't think it's too little. So, all I can give is $1 a month. That's not enough. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because what I really want is a community around what I'm doing. I want you to become a patron because I drop all my content there. All of it. All of my content is on Rockfin and on Patreon. And YouTube is messing around all the freaking time. So I love having a nucleus, a centralized nucleus where I can just share everything with you. Every blog post, every video, you don't have to go to the Substack. It's just right there. Patreon.com/Ron Flacone. And for $1 a month, you get all that right there. And if you can give more, that's great. Very much appreciated. But if you can't, that's totally fine too. $1 a month's great. Because I really want a community. And a lot of people tell me I shouldn't have a tier list Patreon. They're like, don't have a tier list Patreon. They tell me that's a bad idea, but that's how I want to do it. I don't want, and I'm not bashing people that do have tiers on their Patreon. I know most people do. That's fine. I'm not bashing that. I understand, like, we all need to sustain our projects. I get that. It does take resources to do what we do. I totally understand that. And I'm no different. But, I think having to give what you can do it that way. And that's the way I want to do it. So, anyway, sorry to get on a soapbox there. Let's get to Nina. Let's get to what Nina shared. Nina shared this over on the Patreon, which, by the way, Nina, I hope you are well. And I look forward to seeing you in Canada, Nina. I know you're up in I actually know what city you live in Canada, but I don't know if you want me to share that. I know some people are a little strange about that thing. They're not strange, but they're just, sensitive about it. So I don't want to be other people. They shout out their city from the rooftops, baby. And that's fine too. But I don't want to, but I know you're up in Canada, big country. So it's not, and I hope to see you up in Canada in April, by the way, I'll shout out the tour dates. April, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, April 16th. I'm coming. Toronto, April 18th. Ottawa, April 20th, Montreal, April 21st, Burlington, Vermont, April 22nd, Portland, Maine, April 23rd, Boston, Massachusetts, April 24th, and April 25th, New York City, baby. Can't wait to round out the run in the Big Apple. Lauren Ashcraft's going to be on some of those tour dates with me, and Chris Mohan will be opening some shows as well. Go to ronflacone.com for tickets. I'm going to be working on my new hour that is hopefully going to be going to some other parts of the world too. Stay tuned for that. But Canada, U.S., we're coming. All right. Nina says this, a capitalist Christmas carol. I heard about this, but here we're talking about it. The story of one of the 900 employees laid off in a 2.5 minute Zoom call 3 weeks before Christmas. We were all laughing, getting ready for a holiday party, and we jumped on the call. Before I could even process what happened, my computer went dark. The company had remotely locked down the employees' computers instantly. Wow. A la Mission Impossible. Although the CEO who did the firing claimed he regretted the way it was done, he later wrote disparaging remarks about the laid off workers on a professional networking message board. What a great guy. So I'm sure you guys heard about this at some point, but yeah, I've heard about this. Haven't read into it. It was Callus, says man laid off with 900 employees on a Zoom call. So this guy laid off 900 employees on a Zoom call. The CEO did. I guess this guy must be the CEO, I bet. Or maybe this guy is. I don't know. But I'm going to take a guess. Yeah, okay. So this guy's the CEO. He kind of looks like a CEO. Let's be real. So Christian Chapman left was among 900 employees. So this guy laid off 900 people on a Zoom call, and then everyone's computer immediately went blank after they were laid off. It was callous. So Christian Chapman is still reeling after his boss fired him and about 900 of his colleagues in one fell swoop during a company Zoom call last week, right before the holidays. This is like legit Ebenezer Scrooge style stuff. The father of five from Allen, Texas, was busy at work facilitating training sessions for the U.S. mortgage company Better.com when he and his coworkers were sent an unexpected link to a Zoom call with CEO Vishal Garg. We were all laughing, getting ready for a holiday party. Oh, my God. And we dropped on the call, Vishal's call, and it was like the air was sucked out of the room. It was surreal. My mind was having a hard time processing. I come to you with not great news. The 2-minute and 33-second call was leaked on YouTube, where it's been viewed more than 900,000 times. And the video guard begins the meeting with, I come to you with not great news. He went on to explain that the real estate market had changed and that Better.com was laying off 50% of its workforce in the name of efficiency and performance. It's been a really, really challenging decision to make. This is the second time in my career that I'm doing this, and I do not want to do this. Last time I did it, I cried. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. You cried? This time, I hope to be stronger, he said. If you're on this call, you are part of the unlucky group. He thanked the employees for their work, promised they would get an email from HR shortly, and ended the call. That should not be legal. You shouldn't be able to do that to people. Terminate them several weeks before a holiday on a Zoom call in 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Oh, you felt bad? You cried? Wow. This is capitalism, by the way. This is not crony capitalism. This is not exploitation or corporate. Well, it is exploitation, but you know what I mean. This is This is what capitalism does. Because that CEO, you know what that CEO cares about the most? Profit. That's it. So they're running the numbers, and they're saying, let's get rid of these people, and let's just make the people that we're keeping on work harder. That's what they do. They want people to accept less and less and less and work harder and harder and harder. And they're able to get away with it. Why? Well, because that's the work culture we have. Because we are entering an age of feudalism. We're entering a new age of feudalism where people have no choice. And we have a living wage crisis. I mean, you can look at those numbers. The costs of everything have gone up. Wages have remained stagnant. And in some industries, salaries have literally gone down. So that's why people can get away with stuff like this. And that's why we need a general strike. When people strike, it helps. These micro strikes have helped significantly. Wages have gone up. Things are starting to change. They're changing because people are striking. And yes, you can't just threaten a strike. You need to freaking do it. I know there are some people like maybe the threat of a general strike will be enough. I doubt it. Is it possible? I suppose it's not impossible, but I highly doubt it. And you know what? I'll point you to John Deere and IATSE. IATSE, which is the theater and stage theatrical workers. They work in film and television. They're like the crew and stuff like that. They did not get a great settlement. Over half of the employees are disappointed by it. They threatened to strike, but they never actually went on strike. John Deere got a much better package. You know the big difference between those two? Really big difference. John Deere actually went on strike. And now I'm not saying that to be critical of IATSE or John Deere or whatever. I'm just saying you have to acknowledge that's what happened. One group went on strike, one group didn't. One group just threatened the strike. One group got a much better settlement than the other. And, I'm sure there's more details, sure. But those are the big things. Those are the big things. One went on strike, one didn't. End of story. So we need a general strike. There's really no, I mean, if you want stuff like this to stop, where CEOs just lay off 900 people on a Zoom call, ruin their freaking holiday, don't care. Oh, I feel bad. I cried last time. Oh, and by the way, as Nina points out in the comment, he has regrets. He has regrets with the way he handled it. Bullshit. He has regrets because he got caught. He has regrets because the video of it leaked and it got viewed almost a million times. That's why he has regrets. Because if he actually didn't want it, he wouldn't have done it that way in the first place. Well, he wouldn't have laid the people off in the first place. But he certainly wouldn't have done it that way in the first place. He thought about this ahead of time, and they closed the computers off. He didn't want to face questions. He didn't want to get any feedback. He didn't want to be inconvenienced at all. So he took 2 minutes and 33 seconds out of his busy day to screw over nearly 1,000 people. And then he disconnected their Zoom call and disconnected their computers because they were the company computers. I hope every single person kept that computer. And if they couldn't do anything with it, I hope they recycled the parts. I hope they just gave it. I mean, there's places that do that, right? Like they recycle computer parts. I hope that's what they did. I hope none of them gave those computers back. None of them. We got to fight back. We got to fight back. We got to strike. We got to protest. We got to make economic decisions to the best of our ability. I know there's no ethical conception other capitalism. I understand. We got to be reasonable within this, but you know what? There's things you can do. It does make a difference. Avoid Kellogg's products. Doing that stuff does make a difference. Doing the best you can with your dollars. I know none of us are flawless. I'm not flawless. None of us are. The only person who's flawless is the person who freaking lives off the grid, makes all their own clothes, grows all their own food. So if you're that person, all power to you. But guess what? You're watching me on a computer right now, so you're not that person. So none of us are perfect. I get it. But you do your best. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. Yes, that is true. But that is not an excuse to not even make an effort. There you go. All right. So thank you for sharing that, Nina. General strike, baby. General strike. Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. Action for Assange, what's up? Thank you so much for what you do. You say much love, keep organizing, keep fighting. Thank you. And back at you. Action for Assange, they organize visuals and events for Assange, and they have been on this beat, so to speak, on this cause for a very long time. And thank goodness for organizations like them. And and especially those who are able to be there firsthand. Not all of us can be in London all the time for this, but the people who are, they are so essential. The people who, the Kevin Gustolas, the Richard Medhurst, the Gordon Dimmicks, the people who are out there, because not all of us can be. And if we're just counting on the corporate media who's there, the people with the corporate press passes, if we're counting on them to tell us what's going on, we're freaking screwed, especially when it comes to this issue. So thank goodness for them, and Action for Assange. Thank you for the love today, and right back at you. Right back at you, and thanks for all you do. Robert Gilbert, what's up? I got a theme song coming for you, my friend. Robert Gilbert, free Assange, hashtag free Assange. Thanks, Ron. Thank you, Robert Gilbert. Thanks for your support. And I know I got a theme song in the works for you. I look forward to dropping that for you this holiday season. So thank you very much, Action for Assange. Thank you very much, Robert Gilbert. And thank all of you for tuning in on a Saturday, nonetheless. Thank you, Nina, for this week's topic. And can't wait to see you out in Canada. And thank you all for tuning in a day early. I know I'm usually I'm Sunday morning, Nancy Pelosi style. But doing Saturday. And it is Saturday morning where I'm at. It's Saturday noon afternoon where some of you are at. So thanks for taking some time out on your Saturday to hang out with me for a little bit. I do appreciate it very much. And thank you for that. So, guys, I'll shout out the tour dates again because I am excited to get back on the road. Now, this is not until April, and I should have some more international news for 2022. But right now, April, I'm coming out east: Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Burlington, Vermont, Portland, Maine, Boston, Mass, New York City, baby. It's my Poutine, not Pipelines tour. And I'm calling it, it has a Canadian name, even though there actually are more US cities than Canadian cities. It's not a competition. But there are 3 Canadian cities and I think, 5 US cities, right? Because, yeah, Pittsburgh, Burlington, Portland, Boston, New York. Yeah, so it's 5-3. But still, it's not a competition. But it's my Poutine, not Pipeline store. Now, some of you have asked, what about the West? I do plan on getting up to the Northwest at some point in 2022, probably doing Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver. Stay tuned for that. Should have some news on that. If not before the end of the year, definitely, definitely early in 2022. So, yeah. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for spending some of your Saturday. See, I'm even forgetting because I'm so used to doing it on Sundays. Thank you, Nina, for this week's topic. Thank you, Robert, Gilbert, and Action for Assange for the Super Chat contributions. You helped keep this show on the air. And to everybody out there, stay safe, stay well, do not give up. Lucy says me out. Where is she? Lucy's running around somewhere. By the way, Lucy and Ron comic coming back in 2022. Thank you so much for being here. Your support makes this show possible. And you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow, and I say peace, love, and a general strike. I say peace, love, free Assange now, general strike. See y'all next time.